Welcome back to the deep dive. We're the show that tries to, cut through all that tech noise and give you insights you can actually use. If you feel like you're constantly racing to keep up with ChatGPT, Gen AI, whatever the next big thing is, well, you're definitely in the right place today. Our mission is to navigate this whole landscape automation, digital transformation, and how traditional companies can maybe adopt a bit of that Silicon Valley mindset. And we've got some great material to work with today, drawing on insights from a real Silicon Valley pioneer, Kevin Surace. We've looked at his interviews, summaries, transcripts, the whole deal. So we're ready to unpack the key takeaways for you. Clear, actionable stuff, minus the heavy jargon. All right, let's dive right in. There's this question I hear a lot from enterprise leaders, even just curious folks. How is this new wave of Gen AI automation really fundamentally different from the robotic process automation, RPA, that we've had for years? There's this initial buzz like AI agents might just replace everything, but what's the actual difference?
Yeah, that's a great place to start. The key thing about RPA, it's been around maybe a decade, very effective. It's super reliable because it's rule-based. You give it hard-coded instructions and bam, it's nearly 100% accurate. And honestly, because it works so well for those specific tasks, RPA isn't going anywhere fast. It just works.
Right. So if you've already used RPA to cut a process down from, say, 12 hours to 12 minutes.
Exactly. Why would you replace it with something potentially less reliable? There's not much incentive there. Stick with what works for those defined processes. Now, compare that to the AI agents, the Gen AI-powered ones. They're more intuitive. They make decisions based on inference, not just hard rules. But here's the kicker. Right now, their accuracy is maybe 70–80%.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
Quite a drop from nearly 100%.
Yeah, which makes them, as the source material said, kind of useless as an RPA tool for those critical tasks where you need that precision. And Gen AI can make decisions not based on rules, which, corporations often get a bit nervous about. Too unpredictable. And funnily enough, if you try and force too many rules onto Gen AI to make it predictable, well, it starts looking like RPA again, just less reliable.
Huh. So it's like you lose the benefit of the AI's flexibility if you constrain it too much.
Precisely. You end up with something that's neither fish nor fowl, really. Less reliable than RPA, less flexible than pure Gen AI.
So the takeaway seems to be, if RPA is doing its job well for structured tasks, leave it be. The real game for Gen AI is maybe tackling things RPA can't do.
Exactly. It's not about wholesale replacement. It's about expanding the scope of automation, which leads to the next question, right? Where do these AI agents actually excel? They're great for what you call those amorphous tasks, problems without a strict rule book.
Oh, amorphous, like fuzzy problems.
Yeah, sort of. Think about monitoring airline prices and letting you know when they drop. Or maybe calling different services like finding a plumber or electrician based on availability and reviews. These are things RPA just couldn't handle. You need that inferential capability, that ability to adapt and, well, converse almost.
Okay, that makes sense. It's not just following steps A, B, C. It's understanding context.
Exactly. Understanding context and making a judgment call.
So this is where it gets really interesting. Beyond just automating simple roles, let's push past the standard ChatGPT examples everyone talks about. Where are large language models and maybe other AI tools delivering tangible, maybe even surprising value in business right now?
Well, one fascinating point is that it's not just about the huge models like ChatGPT that grab the headlines. There are actually something like 300,000 smaller transformers out there.
Transformers, right. That's the underlying AI architecture.
Yeah, the neural network type that's really good with language. These smaller ones can be trained on very specific data, making them highly accurate for niche tasks. Like in law, for instance, you absolutely cannot have an AI hallucinating or making stuff up.
Definitely not.
So you use specialized models, or maybe a big LLM combined with RAY, that's retrieval augmented generation.
Array, remind me.
Basically, the AI retrieves answers only from a pre-approved verified database. It keeps it factual, confined to specific legal knowledge, for example, ensures precision.
Got it. So specific models for specific high-stakes jobs. What else?
Customer support is a huge one. Really seeing massive value there.
Yeah.
By combining things like voice AI, LLMs, text-to-speech, and that RA system, companies are effectively replacing Tier 1 call centers.
Replacing them. Wow.
And the data is pretty clear. Customers are, and I quote, getting their answers faster and more accurately than when humans were there, period.
Faster and more accurately. That's
Well, yeah.
quite a statement.
It is. It challenges assumptions. It's not just cost-cutting. It can actually improve the service. And here's another, maybe more surprising one, software quality assurance, QA.
QA, really? Isn't that very detailed, human-driven work?
Historically, yes.
Yeah.
Get this. It's a $120 billion a year industry globally, and 99% of that is people. It's been called the least automated of anything.
Wow. Okay, so huge potential for disruption then.
Massive.
Yeah.
My own company at Pants actually built a system for this. Uses 20 different machine learning models, 5 different transformers, and it automates the entire QA process.
Yeah.
From reading business requirements to writing the test scripts, running them, finding the bugs.
The whole thing, start to finish.
Pretty much. The impact is, well, it's huge. A 99% reduction in labor for those tasks.
Yeah.
100x productivity improvement.
100x. That's staggering. So what happens to the QA jobs?
Well, a lot of the script writing jobs, the repetitive parts, yeah, they're likely becoming obsolete. But the senior QA architects, the strategists, they'll still be critical. It shifts the skill set required.
That kind of massive change, that 99% reduction, it inevitably brings up the human side of things. How are employees reacting? Is there resistance?
Oh, absolutely. And this is really critical for leaders to understand. The source material cited an anonymous survey. Get this. 31% of people admit to sabotaging the AI efforts of their company.
31% sabotaging. Seriously.
Seriously. And it's fascinating. The word sabotage itself apparently comes from the Industrial Revolution. French workers threw their wooden shoes, their sagas, into the machines.
No way. So it's literally jamming the works.
Exactly. Just, digital sabots now. There are stories of testers deliberately putting errors into AI-generated code just to make the AI look bad.
Wow. That makes things complicated for management.
Very complicated.
Yeah.
It really underscores the meta for people to focus on upskilling themselves. Because, blunt truth from the source, the machines win. Historically, that's the pattern.
That historical tidbit about sabots really hits home. It's a deep-seated human reaction. Given that resistance and just general confusion, what are some common mistakes or misconceptions leaders have when they try to use these AI tools?
Good question. Security and privacy are always big concerns, right?
Sure, top of mind for many.
But leaders need to know you can run models behind your own firewall. There are private enterprise versions where your data stays completely internal. So that fear, while valid, often has solutions.
Okay, so the tech exists to keep it secure. What else?
Another big one is thinking the tool itself is magic. It's not. You absolutely need proper training for your employees to actually get value from it. Just giving them access isn't enough. And also realizing that the biggest value often comes not from generic tools like basic ChatGPT, but from those specialized models or vendors who've built solutions for specific industries or outcomes.
Right, the vertical solutions.
Exactly. And finally, maybe the biggest misconception is forgetting about ROI. AI is powerful, but it's not the answer to everything. You have to measure the return, be strategic.
Measure the return. Okay, so if a company wants that quick, measurable win, where should they look first? Where is the fastest ROI typically found?
Marketing content generation seems to be a big one. It offers almost instant and hardcore ROI.
Instant ROI, how so?
Well, think about it. Someone mentioned being able to generate, say, 52 blog posts for the year today, where it used to take me weeks and weeks. I could do it in a day.
Okay, yeah, that's a massive time saving.
Huge. It frees up people, dramatically boosts output, maybe means you don't need to hire that extra writer or agency. The savings or the increased output are very tangible, very quick.
So the ROI is in hours saved, or maybe increased leads from more content. Measurable stuff.
Measurable stuff, exactly. The point is, every AI project needs that clear business case. Don't just do AI for AI's sake. Track the benefits.
That makes total sense. Let's shift focus slightly. Digital transformation. It's a term we've heard for, gosh, at least a decade. Feels like a buzzword sometimes. How does its meaning change, or how should it change now that we're in this AI-first kind of world?
Yeah, it's definitely evolved. Today, digital transformation really means getting everything digitized. No more paper trails, cluttering things up. All your data should be accessible, ideally in a central place, so you can analyze it and make smart, strategic decisions. RPA, IoT devices, cloud, they're all part of that foundation.
Okay, so it's about having that clean digital bedrock first.
Exactly. But the single biggest hurdle isn't usually the tech itself. It's culture, leadership, and the workers. Getting everyone aligned and comfortable is key.
The people side again, always the hardest part.
Always. It's about building a culture that embraces learning, addresses the fear factor through things like upskilling, and has leaders who really champion using this tech responsibly.
So what about those companies that maybe went through a big digital push 5 years ago? They digitized records, moved to the cloud. Did they think they were sort of done?
Yeah, I think virtually every company probably thought they were getting close to being done. And then Gen AI came along and just changed the rules of the game. completely.
How so? What did it change?
It supercharges what you can do with all that digitized data,
Yeah.
analyzing it, summarizing it, creating new content from it, things that were way harder or impossible before.
Yeah.
So now, true transformation means, like the source said, 100% of this company getting value out of Gen AI, real value, measurable value, every day.
Every day.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, personally, I use Gen AI tools every hour
Mm-hmm.
for everything from drafting emails to improving story arcs and entertainment scripts I look at sometimes, making sure the villain's motivation is solid, you
Right.
know.
From business strategy to villain motivations, that's quite the range.
It really is. If individuals and companies aren't integrating it into their daily workflows now, they're genuinely falling behind.
That's a strong message. Continuous evolution, not a destination. But here's a practical challenge. How do you sell that long-term vision? How do you convince a CEO, or especially a board focused on quarterly results, to invest in these multi-year AI roadmaps when the pressure is always on the next quarter?
Ah, the classic short-term versus long-term battle. Especially tough for public companies.
For sure.
But the core message has to be about competitive necessity. It's simple. If you don't, that's okay, because your competitors are.
The FOMO argument, essentially. Fear of missing out.
It's more than FOMO. It's fear of becoming irrelevant. Your competitors are getting faster, more efficient, developing new services using this tech. If you stand still, well, you will lose in the long run. Think about the analogy used in the source. Two companies using a horse and buggy. One adopts a truck.
The truck company wins.
Right. Or even better, for something like software QA, using AI is like a bullet train compared to older methods like Selenium, which is becoming the horse and buggy.
Yeah.
The company that doesn't adapt, their margins shrink, their efficiency drops. They just get outcompeted. Shareholders notice that eventually.
That truck and bullet train analogy really drives it home. The efficiency gains are just too massive to ignore.
Okay, let's explore another angle. The mindset difference. How does a tech startup born in that Silicon Valley environment think about innovation differently than a big, established, traditional company? What's the core disconnect? Fundamentally, it often comes down to risk appetite. As the source puts it, disruptive innovation is all about taking risks. Startups usually have nothing to lose. They have to take risks to create a market or steal a slice of an existing one. They're willing to try crazy things, fail fast, learn. And often, they end up eating the large company's lunch by doing something simple, maybe overlooked, but doing it incredibly well with new tech.
While the large company is busy protecting its existing profits.
Exactly. Large companies are often hesitant to disrupt their own successful, profitable business lines. Why risk the cash cow, right?
Makes sense from their perspective, but leaves them vulnerable.
Very vulnerable. And this is where the role of the CIO or CTO in a large enterprise becomes so crucial. They really own these rollouts. They have to be the ones setting the cultural tone, the guideline that allows for risk-taking. Celebrating the wins, sure, but also learning from the losses without blame. Getting everyone rowing in the same direction, everybody's in the boat.
So if you're a leader in one of those larger, more traditional companies, and you want to inject some of that Silicon Valley style thinking, what's one concrete thing you can do? One piece of actionable advice?
The single most important thing. Allow your teams that take risks, and when they do and it fails, you don't come down on them and you don't fire them.
Don't punish failure, basically.
Exactly. Instead, you embrace that and say, isn't it great we learned that? Shift the perspective entirely. Failure isn't bad. It's data. It's learning. Look at the stats for well-funded startups. Maybe a 1 in 10 chance of a huge success.
Wow, only 1 in 10.
Yeah. So if you're an enterprise, that means you probably need to start 10 to 20 projects, knowing most won't be home runs, just to find that one potential game changer.
So it's a numbers game, requiring a culture that tolerates, even encourages experimentation.
Absolutely. Celebrate the learning from the 9 failures as much as the success of the 1 winner.
That's a powerful mindset shift, but it brings up another practical issue: talent. How can a traditional enterprise possibly compete for top AI talent against those high-flying, venture-backed startups offering insane compensation packages?
Yeah, that's a tough one. First, it helps to differentiate the type of talent needed. Most enterprises don't need the people building foundational AI models from scratch. They usually need applied AI talent people skilled at using existing models to solve specific business problems.
Okay, applied AI. Is that easier to find or afford?
Easier, perhaps, but still very competitive. Experienced applied AI folks, especially in hubs like Silicon Valley, can still command, $1 million packages-ish.
Whoa, $1 million packages.
Yeah, and the source was pretty blunt. If an enterprise can't do that, then,
Yeah.
well, they can't play the game at that level of direct hiring for top-tier experienced talent.
So if you can't afford the $1 million players, what's the alternative?
The alternative is often to rely on vendors for expertise. Partner with specialized AI companies who have the tech and the talent already. Leverage their skills instead of trying to build everything in-house. It's a viable strategy.
Okay, leverage vendors. That makes sense as a workaround. So bringing this all together, what does it really mean for you listening right now? We've unpacked the difference between RPA and AI agents, one for rules, one for inference. We've seen surprising AI value in places like customer support and even QA. We've talked about digital transformation being a continuous journey, not a destination. And crucially, the need for that risk-taking experimental culture, even in big companies.
And if I had to boil it down to one single piece of advice for anyone leading or building in this space today, it echoes what we just discussed. You have to embrace a culture of experimentation and allow your teams to take risks. Seriously, remember those stats you need? Attempts to get successes. One big win can change everything. And believe me, the tech is advancing fast, and your competitors, they're not waiting.
Okay, so embrace risk, foster experimentation. Got it. Let me leave you, our listener, with one final thought to chew on. If, as the source suggests, the machines always win in the long run and digital transformation is truly never done, how do we as individuals, as organizations, how do we not just keep up, but constantly rediscover our unique human value in a world increasingly driven by AI? Something to think about regarding your own role, your own future, and the future of work itself. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.